The film begins with Robert, who is in his car with his mistress Adele, on their way to book a room in a hotel to spend the night together. After entering the room, we see someone from outside open the window and point a camera at them, beginning to film. Meanwhile, Detective Kyle and his partner Lamar are heading to investigate a report of a murdered housewife. When Kyle arrives, he asks who was the first officer on the scene, and is told it was Officer Pinola. He enters the house and asks if anyone touched or removed any evidence. Once assured that everything is in place, he puts on gloves and begins to inspect the body, the bathroom, and every area with blood traces. After a while, Kyle begins analyzing what happened based on the available evidence. Lamar and the other officers are surprised by Kyle's way of speaking, as if he had witnessed the crime, but Kyle explains that all his conclusions are drawn from evidence. He points out that the killer is either the woman's husband or someone close to her, because there are no defensive wounds on her nails. He explains that the killer tried to clean the blood and moved the body from the bathroom to the kitchen to make it look like a robbery, but no thief would clean up blood. When the medical examiner arrives, a bullet is extracted from the body, and it's found to be from a .32 caliber handgun. Soon after, a report comes in that the victim's husband has been arrested in possession of the same type of gun while trying to flee. Kyle's theory is thus confirmed. Later, Kyle and Lamar go out for drinks at a bar. Kyle sees a woman sitting alone who catches his eye. He approaches her. Her name is Rachel, though she doesn't reveal it at first. Kyle tells her he's attracted to her and wants to get to know her. Rachel seems interested too, saying she was sure she'd meet someone special that day, but she has to leave quickly. Kyle asks the bartender for her name, and learns it's Rachel Monroe. Rachel returns home and is seen looking at photos of her husband Robert with Adele. She seems furious and continues scrolling through the pictures until Robert arrives and tells her, "You're smoking in the garden, the neighbors might see you." She responds that the neighbors are asleep. Robert gets angry, grabs the glass and cigarette from her, throws them away, and leaves. The next day, we see Kyle in his car watching Rachel. He gets out to speak with her on the street, saying he knows her name is Rachel Monroe. She's surprised and asks how he knew. He tells her he's a cop. It's easy to get that kind of information. He then asks her out, but she declines, saying she's in a hurry. Rachel then goes to buy a 9mm pistol and keeps it. That evening, she shares a meal with Robert, who picks a fight, accusing her of changing and hiding something. When she refuses to talk, he gets angry and breaks the plate. At Kyle's office, he receives a surprise call from Rachel agreeing to go out with him. Kyle is thrilled. They go to a restaurant, talk, and grow closer. When Robert travels for work, Rachel starts seeing Kyle every day. One day, on a boat trip, Rachel confesses to Kyle that she hates Robert, always feels afraid around him, and wishes she could get rid of him and live with Kyle instead. As time passes, their relationship deepens. Kyle suggests she leave Robert and marry him, but Rachel says divorce isn't as easy as he thinks. However, she promises to think of a way to end things with Robert. After Robert returns from his trip, he gets a call from a stranger telling him that his wife is cheating. When Robert asks who's calling, he gets no answer, making him furious. Later, Kyle and Lamar are on patrol when they receive a domestic violence report at Robert and Rachel's house. When they arrive, Robert tries to stop them from entering, saying there's nothing going on, but Kyle insists on checking on Rachel. Inside, Kyle asks her if she wants her husband arrested, but she says it's unnecessary. He'll be leaving in the morning and will just come back to hit her again. Kyle leaves the house angry and warns Robert, "Don't you dare lay a hand on her again." Robert is confused by Kyle's fierce defense and begins to suspect Kyle is the man involved with his wife. Rachel then visits Kyle and tells him she's had enough and wants to get rid of Robert as soon as possible. She informs him that she bought a gun and plans to use it. Kyle warns her about the consequences and tries to calm her down, but she gets angry and storms out, driving away. Kyle tries to follow her but fails. Days pass, and we learn Rachel is at a hotel in Miami on vacation. Kyle, unaware of her location, starts to lose control. Lamar even notices that Kyle isn't focused on work anymore. Lamar reminds him that he was supposed to testify in court that morning, and missing it could lead to the suspect's release, but Kyle doesn't care about anything except finding Rachel. Kyle comes up with a clever plan. He visits a bar owner he knows and asks him to call the police and report hearing Rachel screaming at her home, as if she's in danger. The man is confused, asking, "How can I call the police when you are the police?" Kyle says it's just a favor. The man agrees and makes the call, pretending to be Rachel's neighbor. A patrol led by Lamar and Kyle is immediately dispatched to Rachel's house. Kyle asks Robert if there's a domestic issue again, and Robert replies that Rachel isn't even home, she's in a Miami hotel to clear her head. Kyle leaves, now knowing where Rachel is. Meanwhile, Rachel decides to leave the hotel, but after she exits the room, Adele, Robert's mistress, enters the same room. Rachel goes back to Kyle and tells him she never wants to return to Robert, that she wants to stay with him forever. She says she'll return home just to collect her clothes and belongings so they can run away together. Kyle agrees and drives her there. Rachel starts packing while Kyle waits outside. Suddenly, Robert returns from a party, clearly drunk. He sees her and asks what she's doing, thinking she's heading to Miami again. He grabs her bag to stop her and tries to talk, but she pushes him, and a fight breaks out. Robert tries to throw something at her, breaking a window. Rachel pulls out her gun and threatens to shoot if he doesn't back off. Robert tries to calm her and moves toward her to take the gun, but suddenly a shot goes off, and Robert drops dead. A short while later, when Rachel is late, Kyle goes upstairs to check on her, and discovers that she has killed Robert. Kyle begins calming her down, initially telling her that she must call the police because what happened could be considered self-defense, since Robert attacked her first. But Rachel explains that the gun she used is unregistered and no one will believe her story, meaning she's in danger. Kyle continues to reassure her, saying he'll take care of it. He then uses his police knowledge and investigative skills to erase all evidence of the crime, even extracting the bullet from the wall and repainting it to hide any trace. After that, they carry Robert's body together and dump it into the river. Kyle then throws Rachel's gun onto a passing truck so the murder weapon won't be found. He tells her it's best for her to return to the hotel in Miami again, and after a few days, she should call the police and report Robert missing, claiming she was in Miami the entire time and has no idea where he went, making it seem like she was away and unrelated to the incident. Rachel follows Kyle's advice, and the news reaches Kyle and Lamar, who both work at the precinct in her district. They go to investigate and search Rachel's house but find no physical evidence, so they leave. As they're leaving, Lamar shares his suspicions with Kyle, saying he believes Rachel is the one who killed her husband. Kyle tries to deflect the suspicion, saying he doesn't think she's behind it because she had no clear motive. Later, the police announce they've found Robert's car, but nothing suspicious is found inside. Kyle visits Rachel and tells her that the police will likely summon her again for questioning, advising her to stick to her original story, that she was in Miami and knows nothing. In the interrogation room, Rachel repeats her statements, saying she didn't contact her husband during her vacation and knows nothing about his disappearance. But Lamar surprises her by revealing that neighbors saw Robert with someone in the house the night he disappeared and that the lights stayed on until 3 a.m., suggesting he was home that night. Therefore, a second search of the house is necessary. Lamar tells Kyle he still suspects Rachel, pointing out that she had filed for divorce from Robert twice before. He also mentions that on the day Robert was murdered, the hotel Rachel stayed at called him to say his wife was cheating with another man. Kyle begins to suspect that Rachel might be seeing someone else and that this other man could have made the call to Robert the day he died. Kyle calls Rachel and starts an argument, but Rachel insists she doesn't know anyone else and has no idea who made that call. Kyle begins to believe her and realizes someone must have entered her room and used her phone to make the call. Kyle resumes his investigation and learns from reports that a car was spotted near the river the night Robert disappeared, and there may be evidence in the water. A search team is sent and eventually finds Robert's body. After it's sent for autopsy, they extract a bullet that turns out to be from a .38 caliber gun, while Rachel's gun was a 9mm. This means Rachel wasn't the one who shot him. Upon inspecting Robert's shoes, they find traces of broken glass. Lamar remembers the shattered window in Robert's home and compares the fragments, confirming that the murder took place inside the house. The police return to Rachel's home for another search, and Kyle finds an envelope with photos of Robert and Adele. He quickly hides it, knowing it's strong evidence against Rachel. At the same time, one of the investigators tells him they've found something important. When Kyle sees it, he's shocked. There are traces of a bullet in the wall, even though he had removed them himself. The bullet is extracted, and it turns out to be from a .38 caliber gun, the same type used to kill Robert. Lamar says all they need now is the weapon to complete the case file. After the investigation, Kyle visits Rachel and confronts her, expressing doubts that she may be involved with another man. She denies it, saying she doesn't know anyone but him. Kyle tells her that the bullets in the body and the wall were both .38 caliber, while her gun was 9mm. He begins to suspect that someone might swap the bullets to frame them. He visits the medical examiner to verify the bullets, and confirms they are a perfect match, with no signs of tampering. Kyle returns to work and is told that the chief wants to see him. When he goes in, the chief asks if he has ever met with Rachel privately. Kyle denies it. Lamar, who is present, supports him and says they were always together whenever there was a domestic violence report. The chief tells them Robert had filed a complaint against Kyle, saying Kyle threatened him if he ever laid a hand on Rachel again. Lamar defends Kyle, saying Robert was always provoking them, and Kyle may have said that out of anger. The chief then asks Kyle, "Your service weapon is a .38, correct?" Kyle replies, "Yes, same as every officer." The chief asks Kyle to hand over his weapon and informs him that he is suspended until the bullets can be matched to the gun. Kyle returns home, but the next day he receives a visit from Lamar and another officer. Lamar tells him the chief wants to see him again, because the gun Kyle submitted isn't his original service weapon. That counts as tampering with evidence, and now Kyle is a suspect. He's taken to the station, and during the ride in Lamar's car, Kyle notices a small compass on the dashboard, one he's seen before. Once at the station, he's told that the gun turned and doesn't match the weapon officially assigned to him. Kyle says someone switched his gun to frame him, and he doesn't know who. Lamar urges him to speak up and says they can help him if he confesses. He warns Kyle not to ruin his future for a woman like Rachel. She'll win the case and take the money, while he'll lose everything. But Kyle sticks to his story. The chief tells him to go home and that he'll be contacted if needed. At home, Kyle focuses on the photos he took from Rachel's house showing Robert and Adele. He notices they were taken from inside a car, and that same compass appears on the dashboard. It's Lamar's car. Kyle immediately goes to Rachel's house and asks her, "How long have you known Lamar?" She tells him she's ready to confess everything. She admits that she wanted a divorce from Robert, but he wouldn't give her anything. So she turned to Lamar, who agreed to spy on Robert for money. He even told her which bar to visit, where she first met Kyle. Kyle is stunned. "So Lamar set this all up, and you were lying to me?" Rachel replies that she lied at first, but she truly fell in love with him. When she went to pack her things, she really was planning to run away with him. Kyle storms out in anger. Kyle confronts Lamar and tells him he knows the truth, that Lamar made the call from Rachel's hotel room to frame them, and that he was the one who killed Robert. Lamar denies everything and refuses to talk, until Kyle draws his gun and threatens to kill him unless he comes with him. Terrified, Lamar agrees. They drive together to Rachel's house. Inside, Rachel watches as Kyle forces Lamar to show him where the stolen gun is. Lamar says it's in his car. Kyle, still aiming his gun at Lamar, takes him outside to retrieve the weapon. Rachel watches nervously from inside. Kyle continues holding him at gunpoint while searching the car, until they hear police sirens approaching. Lamar begins screaming for help, claiming Kyle stole his gun and is trying to kill him. Immediately, the police open fire, killing Kyle on the spot. As Kyle falls to the ground, Rachel rushes to him, crying and holding him in her arms. Then, in a final act of vengeance, she grabs the gun that fell beside him and shoots Lamar dead. The film ends with this scene. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel.